Alright, welcome back, guys. This is the NPL Minors Tryout Tournament. This is my first bracket match. If I win this, I get into quarterfinals, so it's like the one before quarterfinals. Today I'm playing against TheFlyingBird, who you may have heard of before. He's part of the NPL community, a lot of it, so he's going to be a tough opponent to beat because, you know, he hangs out with all these NPL people a lot, so he might have picked up a few tips, and his draft is also really good. He has a Mew, Tyranitar, Mega Scizor, Cofagrigus, Arcanine, Gyarados, Diggersby, and Como-O, and Mew and Como-O can use Z moves. So, a bunch of scary threats on there. You can see he didn't bring the Gyarados or the Como-O, which is nice because Como-O is actually a pretty big threat to my team, especially like a mixed set. So that's nice to see. The sets I brought for you today, they're going to be, well, the first one is a Rash Zap Plate Tapu Koko. So with this set, I can, you know, maybe if I get some higher rolls, I can, or I can, I'll make it seem like I'm like a timid spec set, sort of. But in reality, I'm Zap Plate. So I do have 120 attack investment, which is why I'm Rash rather than Modest. And I have Thunderbolt, U-Turn, Dazzling Gleam, and Wild Charge. The reason I have mixed coverage is for Tyranitar because Wild Charge actually does a lot more to Tyranitar than Dazzling Gleam does because of electric terrain and sand. So that's Tapu Koko set. It's going to hopefully put in a lot of work. Flying Bird has a slower team, so I don't need that much speed, so I can invest a lot in power, which is what I chose to do. Second mon I have is a physically defensive Gliscor with Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Roost, and Toxic. It's a Toxic Orb set. It's just full Fizz Death. This is meant to set up rocks on stuff like Arcanine. Arcanine can't really touch this mon, can't really burn me with Toxic Orb, and I can hit it with an EQ. This is mostly meant for Arcanine because I knew he was gonna bring it because of Celesteela. It's one of his best ways to revenge it. So this switches into it very well. I can take whatever hit he wants to go for. This is like full specially offensive with HP Ice. So hopefully I can get off some Toxics with this mon, get up rocks. Main thing is to get up rocks so Tapu Koko can get more Okos. Third mon is a physically defensive Florges. Well, I say physically defensive in quotes because Florges has such good special defense that you don't really need to invest in it. And the set is Leftovers with Moonblast, Toxic, Aromatherapy, and Wish. So Moonblast is just really good coverage against his team. Hits everything except Mega Scizor, and I know this set is walled by Mega Scizor, especially if it has Roost, since Moonblast isn't doing much to it, but I do have Celesteela for Mega Scizor, and can take anything this Mega Scizor wants to go for. Even like a +2 superpower or something, it should be fine. So its main purpose is just to pass wishes to Celesteela, which is very important in this match. Celesteela walls a lot of his team, except for the Arcanine and maybe a Wild Charge Diggersby. Next one is a offensive Venusaur. I have a bunch of speed investment. I'm hoping to speed creep a defensive Mew. And I have Giga Drain, HP Fire, Sludge Bomb, and Synthesis. This set, with the coverage, does actually a lot of damage to a lot of the mons on his team. So hopefully I can get some wall breaking going on with this mon. In combination with Hydreigon, this is my main wall breaker. I think Tapu Koko is more of a sweeper this game, even though it's Rash and doesn't have that much speed. I still see it as more of a late game mon because it doesn't have the bulk to, you know, wall break that well. But it's definitely going to be what I send in last this game. So Venusaur is going to punch some holes in his team. Doesn't really have a great switch in. Next we have Celesteela. I am fully physically defensive with Rocky Helmet. I really want to punish, because if he brings Mega Scizor, I don't want it to get free U-turns off, and I don't want to be taking rocks, and it'd be very annoying. So I punish whatever Scizor wants to do with Rocky Helmet. just wear it down to rocks and Rocky Helmet. It'll be like at 60% or so when it comes back in after 2 rocks and Rocky Helmet. And my coverage is Heavy Slam, Fire Blast, EQ, and Leech Seed. Hits his whole team pretty well. And just physically defensive helps me out with stuff like Tyranitar and stuff as well. Even Arcanine. The last one I have is Hydreigon, which since he has such a slow team, he gets kind of bodied by it. It's a Life Orb Hydreigon with almost max speed. I have a little bit of attack investment with a naive nature. It's at his Dark Pulse, Dragon Pulse, Flamethrower superpower. So as you can see, I pretty much OHKO like almost his entire team with this Mon. He doesn't really have a great switch in at all. And his only ways to revenge it are like a Scarf Diggersby, really. And maybe like a fast Mew with Dazzling Gleam. That's pretty much it. So let's get into the battle and we'll see how it goes from there. Alright, so I lead off with, hold on, lagging a little bit. I lead it off with Gliscor. So he leads off with T-Tar. Yet he's Unnerved, which is interesting. I guess he doesn't want to lose to a Yachi Berry, Gliscor, or something like that. So I've learned my lesson from the last battle against Potato Gym. I'm not going to stay in because this thing probably will Ice Beam me. Let's just switch out to Florges to scout the Ice Beam. I can take whatever hit this wants to go for, except maybe like a Banded Stone Edge or something like that. But he just goes for Ice Beam, doesn't do that much to me, and he sets up his rocks here as I go for Moonblast. And I get off a huge amount of damage on this. It's now, you know, sack fodder. Because he's not Sandstream, I'm just able to do a lot to him even though I'm not invested. Fortress is very powerful with Fairy Stab and base 112 special attack. So I'm able to get off a Moonblast on it, and next turn he switches into Cofagrigus, get a Moonblast on that. It doesn't do that much, but my set with Toxic Aromatherapy does beat pretty much any Cofagrigus because I outspeed him naturally, so we can't do anything crazy there. I am such a huge special tank that if he wants to go for Nasty Plots with Life Orb or something like that, I can just stall that out with Wishes, and I just wear him down from Toxic. So, as you can see, I just go for Toxic here. I miss, unfortunately, which, you know, kind of stinks, but I can just Toxic him next turn. It's not a huge deal. He Toxics me and he misses too, so that's kind of funny. But the surprise factor of my Toxic is gone, but he stays in, luckily, and lets himself get Toxic while he Toxics me. And I can just go for an Aromatherapy here. Even if he predicts me and goes for more Toxics, I can just spam Aromatherapy and wear him down, because they'll be taking more damage each turn. So, also a thing I can do against Cofagrigus is possibly just go hard Hydreigon and get a kill with Dark Pulse, but I'd rather not have Hydreigon get Toxic, because I'm already taking rocks and Life Orb damage. So, I just decided to stall this thing out with Florges just because I can. So, I just set up a Wish on the switch to Arcanine. I don't really want to take Flare Blitzes, like especially if he's like Banded or Life Orb or something like that. Even though I can sort of stall him out with Wishes, I don't really want to. So I got into Gliscor. I know I can take hits from this thing. I want to get rocks up, as the Wish does come true, and I get badly poisoned. He goes for Flamethrower, which is interesting. He's especially offensive set, which is pretty cool. It means that Gliscor can't really stall it out anymore. But I guess he was the Sunny Day set for Slowbro, so he could, you know, kill Slowbro with a Solar Beam. He's probably Weakness Policy as well, because you know, Slowbro, he would have this in on Slowbro. He'd go for a Sunny Day. It's the Geo set from GBA Season 5, I think, where Geo brought Weakness Policy, Sunny Day, Solar Beam, Entei versus Shady, and, you know, killed his Milotic with a +2 Solar Beam. So I just go for Stealth Rock, as he goes for Flamethrower. My Gliscor is at like half. I'd like it to be higher, just so it can, you know, take a hit from Diggersby maybe a Scarf return from Diggersby. So I'll need to find a point later on where I can roost up with that. But at this point, I just go back into Florges, now I can take any special hit. He does go for Flamethrower, and it's not a 2-hit KO. So now I can just get a Toxic on it, which is what I go for as he switches into Scizor. Again, Scizor can't really capitalize on anything I'm trying to do in this match, because I just have Celesteela, which is Rocky Helmet, and he's going to be taking more damage than I am. So even though he does go for U-turn and gets momentum, it's not real momentum since I am getting a lot of damage on the Scizor in the process. It goes for U-turn. Goes out back into Arcanine. I just sack off Fortress here. I actually live, but it doesn't matter. It just goes for Flamethrower again. Now I can just go into Tapu Koko and click Thunderbolt. I don't expect him to make the aggressive play into Diggersby because it's an obvious play, and Diggersby is too important to risk this match. So I just go for a Thunderbolt. I don't want to make any risky predictions, as either Thunderbolt or Dazzling Gleam would have taken out the T-Tar there. So I'm able to take that out as he goes into Diggersby. This doesn't necessarily reveal that he's Scarfed, because he does take a Dazzling Gleam relatively easily from me, probably does around 50. So I don't know what set he is, so I just switch out to Celesteela to see how what set he'll be. I can calc damage on it, get Rocky Helmet damage, as he actually just predicts me and goes for Wild Charge. Now in the battle, I did forget that Electric Terrain was up, and Wild Charge was powered up by that. So I was under the false presumption that he was banded, because he would have needed banded damage to take out my Celesteela there. But that's not the case because of Electric Terrain. So that might come into play later, as you can see. So he takes Recoil, takes Rocky Helmet, it's pretty low. And I go into Hydreigon, knowing that he's not Scarfed, thinking that he's not Scarfed now. And I can just, even if he is Scarfed, I don't take much from Wild Charge. So now I can just fire off a Dark Pulse as he sacks off Kofag. Just drops. He goes out into Scizor. I mean, he doesn't have anything that can revenge it, so he just needs to wear me down to Life Orb Recoil. He just goes for Bullet Punch, does a decent amount of damage, and I kill it with Flamethrower. And then he goes back into Diggersby, and he's able to take me out with Quick Attack. I know I can get off Dark Pulses versus Arcanine and Mew there, but I didn't want to risk any of my other Mons. I didn't want to go hard with Gliscor because I wanted to keep Gliscor around for Arcanine. And I thought I could just sack off Hydreigon and Roost on this, but he ends up not being choiced. Because I still thought he was banded at this point, and that I would be able to take a banded Quick Attack and Roost. But he turns out to just be Silk Scarf, so he just kills me with Return, and now I have to go into Venusaur. Knowing he's Silk Scarf now, I can take any hit from this and just fire off Giga Drain. He just goes Arcanine. I beat this Mon 1v1 because I'm offensive and I'm dealing more than 50% to him with Sludge Bombs. I can poison him. He just goes for Flamethrower, does nothing since I'm not weak to fire. Unfortunately, he does get the burn, which makes the Mew's roll on Psyshock a lot easier for him to get. And I kill him with Sludge Bomb. Actually, the burn makes it a roll. If he didn't get the burn, then it's not a roll at all, and I live at 100%. I only say this because I know what set he is, because he told me after the game, but it is a roll, and I live it on 2%, luckily, and I Sludge Bomb him. I get the poison. Poison doesn't really matter because Thunderbolt from Tapu Koko still took the Mew out. Now I can just go into Tapu Koko, click Thunderbolt to kill the Mew. And then it comes down to Diggersby versus Tapu Koko. I 100% take a Quick Attack here, so my opponent has to go for Earthquake. I think I even take a crit Quick Attack. So my opponent has to go for Earthquake. He still doesn't know what item I am. So for all he knows, it could be Specs and he would have no chance. But he thinks I'm timid rather than or naive rather than rash. But I am rash, so Dazzling Gleam is not a roll to take out Diggersby at 44%. So I am able to take it out with Dazzling Gleam, and we take the game versus the Flying Bird. So that's very nice for us. We are now advanced into the top 8 players of the league. We are in the quarterfinals, and I hope to post the quarterfinals games soon. I'm excited, and I hopefully can get. And it's looking more and more hopeful that I'll be able to make NPL minors. Honestly, my draft is definitely carrying me this league. It's it's a pretty good draft, hard for my opponents to prep for, and I don't know what that says about my playing ability, if it's just my draft that's carrying me, but it's pretty cool to be able to be so flexible with just an 8-mon draft and be able to counter so many mons, because drafting like a fatter team at 8 mons is hard because you only have 8 mons. It's hard to switch into stuff, but luckily for me, I was able to get a lot of the core that I wanted in the draft, like at the beginning of the draft, so it's working out for me well. So see you guys in the quarterfinals video. Alright, thanks for watching.